Il lavoro di ricerca del laboratorio di laurea Lab City Architettura si concentra da alcuni anni sul tema dei centri minori in Sicilia. L'università tramite il laboratorio prova a confrontarsi con alcune realtà complesse che sono proprio quelle dei centri minori. Il rapporto con i centri minori in Sicilia si collega al quadro più generale nazionale e, come soprattutto in molti centri minori del sud Italia e anche dell'arco alpino, soffrono di un tema che è quello dello spopolamento. Lo spopolamento dei giovani, l'impoverimento dei luoghi e l'abbandono. Queste sono le ragioni che ci portano a lavorare all'interno dei centri minori attraverso un approccio che sia un approccio culturale, un approccio sistemico, un approccio di condivisione con le istituzioni locali e che sia basato sulla creatività e l'innovazione e non sulla sopravvivenza dei centri minori. La crisi sanitaria a causa del Covid-19 ha portato tutti a ritornare nelle nostre case, a stare nei nostri luoghi. È necessario immaginare di stabilirsi, di ritornare nei centri minori. Io credo che questo sia possibile se tutti gli attori della società culturale, economica e civica, quindi sindaci virtuosi, scommettano sulla capacità di stare insieme, di mettersi in discussione.
Deciso, d'accordo con gli altri componenti del governo, di adottare misure ancora più forti, ancora più stringenti, per riuscire a contenere il più possibile l'avanzata del coronavirus e tutelare così la salute di tutti i cittadini.
Rivendica e pensa che sia stata la scelta più giusta da tutti i punti di vista, economico compreso.
Questa decisione è stata presa perché in un fine settimana la prospettiva epidemiologica, il panorama è cambiato. Ci sono stati dei trasferimenti della chiusura di notizie, a un certo punto un giorno.
Oggi vivere nelle aree interne significa avere delle opportunità in più, significa avere un clima, avere delle condizioni particolarmente favorevoli che consentono a tante persone e soprattutto a tanti giovani di poter creare occasioni di crescita e di sviluppo. Il rapporto di collaborazione con l'università secondo me non può assolutamente prescindere allorquando si vuole avere una visione di medio-lungo periodo di qualsiasi realtà e a maggior ragione dei centri minori.
Hello from our side. We are students from Vienna University of Technology. My name is Simona Đurević. Next to me is Anđela Kovačević, and our third member is Milana Vasić. Thanks to our tutors and their constructive feedback, we have developed furthermore our project proposal. We would like to introduce you to our project proposal, which is dealing with one very important building in Vienna, its landmark Karl Marx Court. So this is the icon of Karl Marx Court in the context of balcony and violin. The following slide shows the geographical position of the Karl Marx Court. This is the site plan of Vienna. The next diagram shows a close-up view. Karl Marx Court is situated in Heiligenstadt, a neighborhood in the 19th district of Vienna. The third diagram shows its position. Next to it there is a tram station. It spans 4 tram stations due to the building length of 1 kilometer or 1.68 miles. This figure ground map shows the site analysis of Karl Marx Court, its traffic position in relation to the court and Danube. Here we can see in detail the bicycle route, the tram line, the bus stops, and the river Danube on the right side. We can feel the huge measure of the complex. We would like to briefly introduce you to the historical background of the Karl Marx Court. It's one of the best-known Gemeindebauten, or municipal housing complexes in Vienna. It's one of the longest single residential buildings in the world. It was built between 1927 and 1930 by city planner Karl N. Was designed as an example of monumental superblock, had a symbolic character. It was named after Karl Marx, the philosopher and theorist of communism. It held 1,382 apartments with a size of 30 to 60 square meters each. And only 18.5 of the 156,000 square kilometers large area was built up, with the rest area developed into playgrounds and the gardens. So the premises include many community facilities, including laundromats, baths, kindergartens, etc. However, although the complex was primarily designed according to the needs of inhabitants, the time changes and we have noticed few disadvantages when it comes to dealing with new parameters. The main problems are the deficiency of balconies. So the initial design of the building did not foresee balconies for everybody, the deficiency of the balconies and therefore terraces and therefore natural ventilation. Natural light due to the small windows due to the construction of the terraces. The next problem is the insufficient staircase. There is a problem because the staircase does not allow to keep the social distance due to its initial design and its insufficient width. Then the small apartments for relatively big families. The lack of rooftops due to the design of the building, and lack of social activities. We made as well a SWOT analysis of the Karl Marx Court in order to analyze the current condition. S stands for strength, and we can see big green areas as a strength of Karl Marx Court. We can see the linear way of the movement as a weakness. We can see the interaction place between the building and the courtyard as a social meeting point as a huge opportunity. And we can see a threat in order to maintain the social distance measures. However, we have as well identified the biggest potential of this complex. The following diagram shows great potential for the green space. As already mentioned in the historical background, the 81.5% of Karl Marx Hall was left open. The courtyard with green spaces, with residents to enjoy, especially youngsters. This point is very important for our concept, as we want to rethink the usage of the courtyard and the internal organization of the building as well. So the question is how to find a new sustainable strategy for this complex of the buildings, taking into account both the courtyard as well as the side of the building. So this is our conceptual program. we have noticed the big advantage of having such a big courtyard that allows many new interventions and can be connected with the internal organization of the building. We would like to propose several spatial interventions, design proposals in accordance with the new parameters and safety measures. We want to think in the future and adapt this building without destroying its architectural heritage. We want to strengthen the sense of the belonging and the identity of the community, as well as this was the initial concept of the building. So our project strategy, we have defined our goals, pros and cons, and vision for our project proposal. Our goals are to raise awareness, to strengthen the sense of belonging and identity, to maintain the social life, to propose spatial interventions according to the social distance measures, to design with new parameters, to adapt to the new realities, and to rethink the outer space that encourages social distancing of the inhabitants, and it connects it with the internal organization of the building. So we have defined as well pros and cons. We see we can revitalize the space, but there is a fear of gentrification. We can revive the outer space, but there is a still possibility of infection. Social activities on one side and then privacy disturbance on the other side, and we see it as a huge potential for development for the future, but again it could be too drastic. So our vision is for Karl Marx Court to be integrated, vibrant, active area, protected and maintained, as well as ready for the future development potential. So the main logic of the project proposal is the superimposition of the grid layout. How do we do that? The design logic of the project is the superimposition of the grid layout, also called unit layout. This unit layout or grid sets the relation between the undertaken measures, activities, and design solutions with the existing amenities in the building. As we mentioned, the existing project was designed for people living in the block could maintain their daily life almost perfectly without leaving the complex often. So we want to underline that, and we want to propose the three dimensions of the project in relation to that. So the three dimensions are the courtyard, the apartments, and the addition of the fire staircase, acting as a safety and social meeting point, all with a logical functional grid. So the following slide shows the logic of the grid superimposed on the plan of the Karl Marx Court. The functional grid defines the public and the semi-public space. And the following slide shows our vision of the complex, and we will go now in detail with our concept for the three mentioned dimensions, for the courtyard, for the internal organization of the building, and for the fire staircase.
Rethinking the concept of courtyard. So let's start with the courtyard. We have defined two types of spaces, public space in the middle of the complex and semi-public space for the residents. Depending on the spatial division, different functions are distributed in the Karl Marx court. The middle part of the court includes public gatherings such as cafes, cultural events, picnics. Semi-public space is more intended for residents and is therefore subordinated to such functions: urban gardening, farming, outdoor activities, children's playgrounds. The following plan shows a detailed analysis of the existing amenities of the building. We can see many functions within the complex. The understanding of the existing structure is considered and used as a tactical approach for placing the new program. So, this is the new program that we designed with understanding the current amenities. The onset of social distancing requires unique solutions to enable these spaces to function and everyday business to be undertaken. Various program functions strengthen the sense of the belonging and identity of the community. According to social distance measures, these spatial interventions will increase the social interaction between people, especially its residents. Urban gardening and farming are good for our mental health. In addition to producing food, it gives some freedom for a daily routine. Visual guidances for social distancing on the outdoor spaces will raise awareness and encourage people to feel more related to nature. It will encourage people to turn more to a healthier lifestyle by spending time outside doing different activities. On the following slide, you can see the detailed plan and the position of the discussed activities. Here you can see project proposal, grid, and activities.
So let's talk now about the other dimensions of our project proposal, the internal building organization. As we already discussed, the complex is 1 kilometer long, so we have tried to understand the anatomy of the complex itself and focus ourselves on the main part of the complex, the central part of it. So one of the main problems inside the building is the vertical staircase, which is repetitive and it does not foresee, due to the natural design of the building, keeping the social distance. There is a threat of contagion, which is why we find it very important to rethink it. So our design solution is the addition of the external temporary fire staircases, acting as both as a fire staircase, as a safety measure, as well as a social meeting point on the terraces. So this will solve the problem with the staircase. It is designed for the two-sided direction, and it connects the courtyard and the terraces of the residents. Our vision and main goal is to create an interactive place between the building and the courtyard, having in mind the COVID-19 measures. An additional external staircase would allow residents to meet outdoors. When the COVID situation does not allow the residents to go outside of the building, the additional temporary terraces will be useful as a place for sunbathing, for reading the books, for sitting, or just taking in the fresh air. So this place could be used as an interaction place for the residents, for example, where they could play music, sing, or just gather in the hard time of COVID. Here we can see the ground floor plan, then we can see the upper floor and the main elevation. As the floor plan shows, we have divided the circulation system into two parts. So the temporary staircase marked in red serves 2 units per floor, and the existing staircase marked in gray does the rest. So the priority will be as well the natural light greenery. The green spaces prove beneficial to the building occupants. Even the building itself stands to benefit. So I want to as well make a proposal for the terraces, for the green space on the terraces. We see this as a huge opportunity for the residents, and plants reduce energy usage, plants refresh the space, even can provide fresh vegetables for the residents. So we want to connect these terraces of the residents with a temporary staircase. This is our design proposal and the scenario how it may look like. And this is the second scenario, having in mind the COVID-19 measures and proposing social meeting activities.
Our vision: in the future, Karl Marx Square will become an adapted, integrated, vibrating area with the various social activities for both residents and people of Vienna, with predetermined social distance measures. So, values will change, our lives and habits will change, and our homes will also change under that influence. With that in mind, we propose these temporary interventions for both courtyard and the internal organization of the building to maintain and keep the social life going on after COVID-19 pandemic. Thank you for your attention.